Saraswati, do you have the email? Oh, Japa Saraswati, we don't have your moot.
Yes, I'm coming back. I just started the recording.
Okay.
So here's the chat.
Oh, good. You have so many things.
Okay,
And would you talk about that?
sure. We're getting Harimandir right now.
Oh, good. Oh, hi, Harimandir. So we've had tuned in. So tune in first. Okay.
Okay, and then I'm just going to post the chat one more time in case it doesn't come through for Harimandir. So it says from Baba Siri Chand, how can you be aware and present? Then how can you be in your pure presence during your transformations during the Aquarian Age / apocalypse? How can that age change into this light world? Do we have that? How can we be aware and present? How can we be in our true presence during these transformations? How can the Aquarian Age change into this light world? Do we all understand this?
Good. Okay. So now we're going to have the same thing for 1 minute for heart jumping. It's not jumping. What is that?
Heart pumping.
Pumping. That's it. Heart pumping for 1 minute. And then we have 4 minutes for heart breath. And begin. And now heart breath. And inhale and exhale. And breathe. Okay. And so we're going to start. There are three bullets, and we're going about each one. Okay, so Aagia Pal,
Yeah, so
aware present.
so Baba says yes. It's very hard for you, meaning me, to be present and aware a lot of the time now. And it's hard because he says the smoke gets in your eyes and you can't really see. And out past, let me see, he says, out past your impatience and your intolerance is your judgment. And your judgment is what you go to, it's your go to. And this is what gets in the way. This is what creates the smoke. And the pain of not being present. And he's it was very simple. Like he said that uh, don't be afraid of being aware because so I said yeah, because it's hard for me to be aware, to really see and listen to what's not only going on inside me but going on all around me. And it seems like a reflex action that I go to judgment. And So he says that, let's see, not to run away from it, not to run away from all this smoke, uh, and but the only way to deal with it is to go through it, to move through it, and whatever it takes to move through it. And this is the transformation that he says, is before me. And I have a choice. He says, you always have a choice whether or not to, to move through this, smoke that is between you and your awareness and your presence with me. And so, but the rewards, he says, are great. You can't see them, right? So many times you can't see. So you put one foot in front of the other, he says, just move forward and recognize that even the tiniest, I said to him, but what can I do? Why, I don't think, what can I do to help with this? It seems like a pandemic of impatience and intolerance and judgment and non-awareness and non-presence. And he says that yes, you can't you can't see right now. That's why I'm here for you. And I am always here for you. And soul is always here for you. So remember, remember, remember. And to to call on the light within, call on the light that, oh yeah, I sort of get chills when I said that. And to call on it. Don't forget, because it is within you. And even the slightest thing you can do, whether it is look out the window at the birds and the trees and to send them heart breath and love, or it's to stop to talk to your next door neighbor, and while you're talking, send them heart breath and love. It's the smallest things, and one foot in front of the other, he says. And until you really move into confidence, and learn to be guided by your light, which is soul's light, it's my light, it's God's light. And so anyway, that's what Earth School is teaching me right now. Is he says, that I'm learning to rely on the light that's in me and the light that's all around me, and that distractions that bring me to a place of impatience, intolerance, non-acceptance, all of those, judgment, will dissipate, will basically dissolve in my light. But I have to allow this and be aware and remember and constantly, even as much as it takes, go back and say, like, I can't see, help me see, and help me on this path. I am committed to it. And so, and I felt that he was smiling, and that gave him solace, and he gave me support. So this is a time of deep transformation, and recognize that none of us is at the same place in this transformation. Some of us are more fearful than others. Some are more willing to listen, are more, let me say, ready to listen. He said some are more ready than others, and to accept that and to be just non-judgmental of myself, and just, just continually call on the light within me. So thank you, Baba, and that was the message.
Okay. Could I ask you one little thing?
Yes, please.
Is it important to know about awareness for the dark part of us?
Well,
Just hear that.
um, he says awareness is all encompassing, and moving in awareness. Oh, yeah, that's so because that's sometimes why I shy away from awareness, because the light brings, not enlightens the our darkest spaces, as well as our most loving spaces. So awareness is key to our the dark spaces within us, as well as the light. And so that when we become, when we're not on autopilot and just working on like false beliefs or opinions, or when I'll speak for myself, not just on autopilot and going into judgment mode, um, to call on the light to to make it clearer to me that the dark spaces in me are working against working against the love and the light that I can uh, that I can share, and to call on the light, to call on the love within, to to diminish, to take the dark and transform the dark. He says, so you need to transform your whole self, and that includes the dark spaces as well. And that's why this is so difficult, because it's a challenge, because I don't like to look at my dark spaces. I don't like to look at the times in which I've hurt people, which I've hurt myself. I just sometimes pretend, or I say to him, I prefer not to go there. Can you just make it better for me, please? And the answer is no. I have to consciously be present, do Ho'oponopono, which I was doing the other day, like almost all day, because all these, he says, all these things now are coming to the surface. So things about which I was not aware, and about which and ways in which I have inadvertently, unconsciously hurt other people. You know, the dark side is very subtle, and it kind of wiggles around and worms around, and unless I'm very aware, uh, the more light that, you know, the more I want to be good, the more it's going to amp up. I feel like it's amping up, and then everything's coming now to the surface. And as like what happened yesterday, I said to him, I felt like overwhelmed, too much. I was saying, you know, so all of this is just way, way too much. Please let me take the weight off my shoulders. So give me this awareness, but please titrate it, you know, just give me as much as I can handle right now. So anyway, that's what he said about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So what you're saying is to understand or being aware of the dark and then use that for transformation or healing. Is that right?
Yeah, well said. Exactly.
Okay. But what about people who are not looking to only see about light? Then what?
The the people that are only looking to see light,
Mm-hmm.
well, uh, um, the healing cannot be complete, right? So let's see. He says that was you, that's been you, and but now you've, and it's been hard, but now you are uh, not necessarily balancing, but able to be aware of the dark and the light. And this is how healing, the merging of let's see, the transformation. So the darkness goes into the sea of of light, and it will only, unless, because I am the mover. He says, I am the prime mover of this darkness into the ocean of light. And for people who are not aware, then the darkness is not transformed. It's not transmuted. It doesn't move into the ocean of light, he says. So, um, uh, and that brings with it um, pain and suffering and so on. But there is a sacrifice to bringing the dark into the light. There, of course, he says, you know, your life is not going to be easy from now on, as if it were easy already. But he's like, no, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be without sacrifice. You're going to be ready to be called, and to make the decision and be brave when you're called to do what you soul is asking. So I'm thanking him, you know, it's like I feel I am aware, perhaps not of all of my dark spaces, but that I acknowledge that they exist in me. And so that's it. Yeah. And so that part of a lot of the work is to move this darkness through the smoke into the ocean of love and light. And I do this by forgiveness, right? The Ho'oponopono. I do this by, okay, I'm forgiving myself. Please forgive me. I love you, meaning I love myself. And then thank you. It's done. So a lot of this must be done. The forgiveness. And he says sometimes this is, you think you don't know, you think you know, but really why you're here is to really learn forgiveness. And forgiveness for yourself, for allowing the darks to come through you. And I remember the things I've said to my parents, etc. Oh, terrible when I get angry and so forth. But that is so anyway, I'm going on and on. But anyway, so that's the whole crux of the matter here, is to learn forgiveness. And once I understand and I'm aware of the darkness and the terrible calamities that has caused, I'll say, in my life, and just look out at the world, what's it's causing and what it has caused. I'm reading all about slavery now in Bishop Budd's book, How We Learn to Be Brave. And it's just blowing my mind. And wow, the dark side was just, I don't know what the word is. It's just so merged with a belief system. It's like a parasite. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, I hope that made some sense.
Thank you, dear.
Okay.
That helps me, and it helps all of us, I think.
Okay.
Helps a lot.
Good. It came
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
from Baba Siri Chand. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Okay.
He says you're welcome.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, now we know about Salt City. And
Yay.
yeah, Salt City, tune in, and
Okay.
also you're
I've been listening.
you're
Okay.
seeing the chat. Okay. Okay. So
Thank you.
now this is for Gian Das Prem.
Satnam.
Nice.
Okay. Well, how can I be aware and present being here? So the first answer that I got is through the spheres and the orbs, meaning the planets, breathing Shavasana into being freedom during live action, sharing with the smiles through the colors of the reminders and the faces of our relations, in the vibratory communication, through truth and expression by divine examples. And that would be the back to the matter of water, air, earth, fire, water, wood, all of the other planets. And we can go on, right, with the periodic tables and everything else. Being in that presence of that, the breathing, the shavasana, the focusing, where we're coming into certain parts of our being, facing who we are as a group, through our group experience throughout the ages, and the changes in our DNA being noticed through the structures and the forms and the drawings and the examples that are, on rocks, and now coming through the actual intelligence, not artificial, it's actual. It's because it's part of the information of some of the vibrations that we've learned. So coming through the truth in the actual of what is happening, say we can go through science if we want to. The example that Bubba's giving me is go back to math, and what is 144 square inches is a square foot, and if you cut two triangles in half, you get 72 times 2. Just he likes to throw numbers at me sometimes because numbers work in certain areas, and the light of the world is through freedom and changing that light into the communication away from the monetary system, completely back to the mother holding the child, or the farther holding the child into that cradled position of this is my responsibility of how I am about to move the presence of this human form into its true technology by arriving back to its freedom of that, responsibility and the freedom of sharing through that caring. There's a certain amount of daring in there that we go through too, that we have to come to and face as ourselves where we are. It's like sandbox talk. I want to say, we need a drink of water sometimes because our mouth gets a little dry by the amount of speaking that we do. And yet, when we get into the parts of our body that may not seem familiar or uncomfortable, stiff, there's a process in that enhancement that we're going through that can allow a softening into the body healing for the light sharing technology, whether it's infrared light or the light coming from the sun, breathing into that song of our being. It changes, the ages change, right? And so the freedom of being in that preciousness, in that worthiness of that freedom, right? Of being able to just be here freely with sharing beyond the daring of the rules that somehow are put in front of us, that we have ways of stopping each other physically from living in a means that doesn't make sense. And through the sense of the animals that are around us, the lions, the tigers, the bears, and how they go about their life and what they do, and the birds, and all of the lives that we just have is so much a way of being aware and present, I think, within that moment. Because this change that we're experiencing it's amazing. I mean, and at the same time, there's some sadness that our heart it may need to face in that way of crying, and the sorrow of admitting I've made a mistake, and here I am back to holding a life, and the reminder through the practice of the baby in the bathwater, right? Do we pick one up?
Say it again.
The bathwater, they say, you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, right?
Right.
So is there a possibility that they can slip through our hands, that they can slip through our thoughts, that they can slip through the cracks, that they could be on the ground or floating in the water? One of the examples is of the baby in the basket, that has to be released because the fear of it living is gone and it needs to be set free into nature. Was it Moses or so we have so many stories that go through that information becoming truth in the beings that we're seeing today. Yeah. The third ear, the third eye, and the source of us, coming into that. So the triangle, so I think noticing that water,
Okay.
those items that we're made from, we can go to the triangle to like the food triangle, right? Or our health or noticing that. So I think if we can pick one up, a life, if we can pick one up, we're sort of merging into that change of it's a life. So whatever that life is, and we're picking it up, is giving that sort of sense of freedom back into that, that being aware, the flower, the lumens, light comes into life. And if we can be aware like a flower, it illuminates that life through its being. Waheguru,
Okay.
right?
Thank you so much. Now, could I say this might be that
A little
uh,
longer.
you might say the physical aspects of, let me say, for the world and for us is changing also for transformation for the physical aspects and also for the emotional aspects. Is that true?
Mm, yeah, and that very true comes forward to our expression of our being here
Ah,
within this life, right? Within this matter that we're all here with the unseen, the unknown, that freedom that we have. Yeah, it's so beautiful that, and going through Mother's Day this weekend and noticing, going through a group of grieving mothers and myself grieving in certain ways through lives lost and noticing the differences in our society today. Having a chance to come into that circle of sharing is so important. Yeah, and I think as a man myself, it's losing my opinion. Yeah, because my ultimate defense is the acceptance of that person and being able to have some sort of a defense in myself of that not hurting, of coming in with the kind heart, right through the shanti,
Mhm.
shanti prashanti, and yeah, that light within that, yeah, coming through our hearts and our hands and our feet. It is physically and emotionally, yeah, and that life expression, not just in the human form but in the other evolved forms that are doing their way of their way, and here we are too, so the
Okay.
merging.
Thank you,
Why,
dear.
thank you. Why, Guru, I love you.
Thank you. I know you always talk about uh, birth,
Yeah.
and this is, you're talking about changing, wait a minute, of the energies of what is changing. Uh, the energies, what we might call physical, not just physical, but the pure energy is actually changing. Is that what you're saying?
It's like coming out of the water in the womb, in a sense, for that transformation. Absolutely, yes. There is a way that we can be there, right? That part of it, I think, is inherent, that we have coming back, into that experience of the cycle too, of noticing that we've been doing this for so long together, that we have this opportunity now to just share everything, within that tear and that water in the tear, right? Of being coming out of the water again, right? And seeing the bubbles, or, and the light above the water. And wow, that's the maybe part of the realization, of noticing that part of the sky when we leave, or if we remember leaving our body. Yeah, and it's just so beautiful to have that umbilical cord still. Yeah, and my reminder to not be Kriya. So, and I'll go back to silence. Why, Guru?
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Ved Bachan.
Satnam. Satnam.
Satnam.
Um, so the first part, what Baba was saying is just really focused on slowing the breath down a lot,
I'm
like
sorry,
breathing.
say it again. I didn't understand.
Slowing the breath down a lot, like breathing very, very, very slow and deep, to really become fully present to all parts of my body, to the space that I'm in, feet on the earth. If I'm outside, feeling the sun on my skin, and feeling my body, but really like being fully inside of my body. Centered in the heart with kindness, gentleness, patience, spending time in non doing and rest, silence and forgiveness, and allowing emotions to flow without stopping their process. So just holding a bigger space that they can move within. So lovingly witnessing and being curious with what is arising internally and externally within experience. And then being kind to the fear and defensiveness that comes up as intense sensations, like within the physical body. And holding the pain, whether it's mine or just something I'm experiencing through being in connection with somebody else, but like actually having an experience of like I would be with a child. So like rocking it, cradling it, just looking with eyes of forgiveness and understanding. Compassion, which comes from actually allowing all parts of me to have the experience of really fully bearing witness. Radical welcoming, so even the things that arise that I don't necessarily want to feel in specific moments, like just how can I radically welcome them no matter like where I am or who I'm with, like making space for that internal process, even within connection, and listening from a deeper place. So under the mind, beyond the story, but with with the heart that doesn't separate. And the other thing that was coming through is like knots, entanglements, things that can feel stuck are released through love, not trying to like push them or rush them or force, like not trying to, not needing things to change, shift, or be different, but just simply being with, which takes a lot of courage. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Great. Very, very lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the space.
Yeah. And for me, it's very kind of strange. Yeah. It's not strange, but I keep feeling about these old things. I thought, oh, that's because old people do that. But now I understand what's happening.
Mm.
It's healing, it's
Yeah.
transformation.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you, Dale.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Sahej.
Satnam, everybody. The first awareness that I got was like right off the bat asking myself that question, how can you be aware and be present? And it's like, of course it's your breath. There's nothing else that can so effectively pull you into the present moment as putting your awareness on your breath. And I'm not I didn't even think I was going to be up for this call this morning, but so like I think that's mostly is what I'm being shown is that's where I need to go in any moment that I find difficult, is to just put my attention on my breath and remember that the truth is this life is one breath to the next. And it's, the present moment is now, and it's now, and it's now. And I'm not, I feel like just some things have been kind of flashing through my mind about being in my pure presence during these transformations. And I'm honestly I'm feeling there's a balance between observing what's going on and what is happening to people. The conscious cruelty that's not only allowed but encouraged. Like I thought the other day about the book 1984 and the 2 minutes of hate. I don't know if people know that reference, but and I thought, wow, only 2 minutes compared to what the actual reality is, where it's this round the clock spewing of uh, the darkest thoughts in public. Um, and I think we have to, it's an addiction.
Mm.
And the proof is that where that's mostly expressed is on our phones. And I mean, I see it happening to myself. Like on days that I find unbearable, sitting and just endlessly scrolling through my phone. I'm not making comments or even reading people's comments. I'm just looking at nonsensical things. But that in itself is an addiction. It takes us out of the present moment. It takes us out of our reality. And that's why we use it, right? It's like any other uh, thing that we use to alter our consciousness. It could be a substance that we ingest or that we smoke, or it could be our phones, like the constant flickering screen. And quite honestly, right now, I'm using that deliberately to take me out of my present reality. But I think for me personally, part of what I'm understanding is for me is to sometimes just to be the holy witness. That's sufficient. Um, and to, Ho'oponopono is so valuable in these moments because I feel like um, I've in the last 10 years, I think I've seen up front and personally some of the worst kinds of human instinct and behavior. And beyond my reality to have any control over, I simply have to self regulate and witness. And maybe, if I'm fortunate, glean some understanding that can give me compassion. But that doesn't always happen. You're not always going to understand. And we don't live in a just world. It would be great if we did, but we don't. I'm not even really sure at this juncture what stands for justice. I don't I don't see it anywhere around me, to be truthful. It might happen by accident, but I think you know, what I'm seeing is like my very sincere feelings about supporting the people in Gaza and in other places in the world where terrible things are happening. But even that we can use as an escape from our own reality, from dealing with what's right in front of us, what's right in our neighborhood, what's right in our school, what's happening next door. Um, so I'm not sure that I have an answer to that. Those are just things that are flashing through my awareness right now. But it comes back like right now I'm being like led back to yeah, yes, all of that. And here's your breath. Here's where you have to start. If you don't know the answer, if you can't think how to act, or whether to act, go back to the breath, go back to the awareness on the breath and start there. And I think for me, that's about what I'm capable of today.
Well, that was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, Satnam, thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe that we're talking about Aagia Pal's smoke. There's so much smoke.
Yes, yes. Which makes it hard to breathe.
You've got it. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Okay, Harimandir. Are you there?
Okay, now I'm here.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Is this okay with everybody? We need this to be longer. Is that okay for anybody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Harimandir.
I think what Sahej just said was really profound, that what we're using as an escape. And the Gaza example really hit home, that we focus on what's out there and what we see and what is scary and horrible. But what we can and do is, or like all these different distractions, it keeps us from our own focusing on our own transformation. And right now there are people living on two different dimensions, two different planes, and we're all existing at the same time, but we're on completely different planes of life. And just knowing that is helpful to me. My focus right now has been my passionate desire has been to connect with people, and I'm finding there are so many people to connect to with, so that is a lot. And so many of our connections these days are through the devices, our phones, which is, the minute we go on it, we're drawn away, not from what we're there to do, but going into the rabbit holes of all the stuff that's on there.
Wait a minute. What did you say? Dystonia?
So much of our communication with other people these days are on our devices, on our phones, I suppose on our computers, but I just have my phone. And we're drawn away from the communication to the distractions so quickly. And we can go in to connect with one person or one person, and an hour has gone by and you haven't gotten there yet. because we've been distracted. So it's a worldwide distraction of taking us out of our present.
Mm.
Because it's happening to us, it's happening on our whole in the America, and it's happening worldwide. The history, the cruelty that we've seen, the intentional cruelty, and their names, their official names for people who intentionally want to hurt other people. And that's what we're seeing beyond what we've ever experienced. I think most of us, it's beyond what we could have imagined, and yet it's right in front of us. But the whole history of humanity and of the United States is that history of intentional cruelty through the slavery, through how we treat immigrants, goodness, how we treated the Jews who were fleeing from the effects of the Holocaust type stuff. We've been intentionally cruel throughout our history, and keeping that non-judgment. Gaza brings up another thing. I went to a death cafe the other day where you have coffee and tea and crumpets and talk about death. And it was held at the synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
And at the synagogue, one of the people that came with her history of her ancestors having gone through very graphically through that time. So it was, I finally read it last night, and the realization of the cruelty at that time, the cruelty we're doing now, the cruelty of the entitlement of the entitlements that have existed in our past worldwide and certainly in Americas. So that's my contribution. Certainly Aagia Pal, I come on these calls to listen to Aagia Pal.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so appreciative of her ability and her insights. And Sahej also.
Everyone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But those are who I've been hungry for. So thank you. And the idea of people living on different planes at the same time is something that's interesting and I think important. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. God bless you, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, South City?
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you? We are so glad to have you.
I'm so happy to be back.
Yes. You were okay, huh?
It took a while, but just spent some time in a wonderful place called the Critical Care Unit, which instead of, there weren't even any beds available in the state in the mental health special places, which are pretty rough. So Advocate has its own unit connected to their main building right on Route 9. And it was such a great experience. What it turned out to be is that I'm going to talk about this in our spiritual terms. I came into this world.
Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry. What you're talking about is also what has been future about these difficulties, right?
Yes.
Okay. So continue. Go ahead.
So, there's in my family lineage, and I have 11 siblings. Pretty much all of us have this disorder that afflicts people who come from populations that were starved. So it's mostly Irish who had to have high energy to keep working while there was no food. So and then you had the Holodomor when Stalin shipped all the food out of Ukraine. So it basically, in order to have, there was like some kind of, I can't say change the DNA of these folks. So, and it gets passed on in the generations, which really is a karma and I'll get to that, um, to be able to have high energy with low food stores. But that's not the case in that one here in America. It wasn't the case for my family, but the way a doctor explained it to me is like in the liver, for the metabolism in some way got changed permanently, and it gets passed on in the lineage. So it has a lot to, so my experience was, it has a lot to do with darkness and light. So I would say, what I want to say first is I heard Yogi Bhajan say, or read it once, saying, don't, I'm putting in my own words because I can't remember his exact words. It was in a book that I read, his collection of sayings. And he said, basically, hey, quit bitching and moaning about who you are or what your circumstances are, because you chose this before you were incarnate, became into the world so that your soul could grow. So I really feel that way about this disorder, which first came up when I was in college, although I think I had it all through my childhood. And I ended up they didn't really understand it very well at all. They thought I had schizophrenia, so I was on a lot of heavy duty drugs and in a, was told you'll be in it, you're a schizophrenic and you'll be in it, adolescent schizophrenic, you'll be in and out of hospitals for the rest of your life. You won't be able to work and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Lord, God, Guru, don't, that's not my life, please. So the great gift in my life to handle this, which is the light. So in a sense, the disorder had a lot of darkness because it wasn't understood, right? And they think they understood it, but they were totally off case. And my life would have been really ruined if I had listened to that. So I didn't even put my pinky toe into the shadow, the dark side. It's like I'm for this focus. And the gift came for Kundalini Yoga because that really has changed my life. And I was told to do 1 hour every day of 1 minute breath, which I did for really a long time, and worked with an acupuncturist who also explained to me this genetic abnormality that he said he was a Buddhist. It is your problem. he, he was Korean Buddhist, and he really helped me get well. So what happened recently was a lot of, all the stuff that was coming at me that was deeply dark. And if Gaza is just mind blowingly dark. And other things, because I had, in order to, the other thing that complicated my mental health issues, why I looked like a schizophrenic and didn't handle trauma that well, was that I started doing EMDR. But so what happened was the medicines which really changed my life for the better. I had been on Pamelor after I got out of the hospital. That was fantastic. And all those SSRIs started coming through. So I was on Lexapro for like over a decade, and it worked beautifully. And every one of my siblings is on a different antidepressant, like Celexa, Prozac, on and on and on. So what happened to me is the medicine was pooping out, and it also has very serious side effect of forgetfulness. And that forgetfulness was really messing up my life, creating problems, damaging relationships with people who didn't understand the situation. And I was sleeping 16 hours a day. I was not eating much. And then it all started, which hadn't happened in 40 years, because I'd kept myself out of the hospital with really good acupuncture and other things, and Kundalini, and a medicine that really did work. So the Lexapro started pooping out, and then I started hearing voices which always say dumb things like, go to the window, jump, jump, just crazy stuff, very self-destructive, wacko, self-destructive stuff, which is just annoying. It's like swatting flies. And then was sleeping all the time, and then I couldn't remember anything. And I got, there's another symptom that was really sleeplessness, all this stuff. So what did I do? I denied it. I ignored it, thinking, oh, this will go away. And that's all. These are all the mechanisms that I realize now from our conversation today open the door to living in the shadow. Oh, that's not happening. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way. A lot of Americans, I think I can speak for them, are doing that because it's just too painful to face. So I don't know what my problem was, but I had to go, the ambulance had to, come and take me to the special care unit, which by the grace of God was run by all these Ugandan workers. And the men were like 7 feet tall, and they were the nurses, and these wonderful women who every morning would ask, you don't have to do anything. There's all programs going on. I could have gone to, I did go to some of the groups, and every day they took us on a walk to Dunkin' Donuts. And there was very beautiful staff. And my psychiatrist is from Haiti, and she was just like, this could have been averted. You got to pay attention to the signals. Don't go onto the dark side. She wouldn't have said that, but confront what's actually going on. So I spent quite a bit of time there, and first few days I just slept for 4 days, and then I was already on a new medication called Wellbutrin, which really works, and they're tightening me off of Lexapro. But it's a very illuminating in my own life. It was a big wake up call. Cold water in my cold shower in my consciousness that, wow, that's pretty powerful commitment to denial. And I really see that as kind of like a spiritual challenge. And I'm just so grateful. I had this intuition about moving here, and the ashram was here, and I don't live there, but I have never gotten better mental health care than here after like 40 years in the health system. And I got through University of Pittsburgh and was able to hold down a job and write a dissertation only because that was the first university to have a disability unit. And I had to go there every week and they would help me stay on track. And Teddy Kennedy and the governor of Pennsylvania really worked together. Governor of Pennsylvania, Thornton, governor was the governor of Pennsylvania. They had a mentally disturbed kid. And so he worked with Teddy Kennedy to get this disability law passed. And this system, community health care, is usually really terrible, but it's fantastic here. And they have this very innovative unit where you just go, you don't have to be sectioned. So it didn't have to be, that's a big legal issue. And I was able to go in, sleep for as many days as I needed, have this wonderful Ugandan food prepared by these great Ugandan cooks, immigrants. So, and then within just days was on the right medicine. So what a gift from God. And I'm going to be really attentive and aware of my own proclivity towards denial on all levels, political, social. And here's one, is my own body. And yeah, I really do believe that we do come in and pick our karma, or we choose. I came in here to deal with this, and it helps me a lot. I was reminded that doing sadhana and teaching yoga, which I'm doing through a place nearby, to help people to learn Kundalini and yoga meditation and deal with the mental health issues and drug issues, because I think it'll help people a lot. So I pass, and thank you so much for listening. And so happy to be back.
Thank you so much. This is really important. What you were talking about is also from my family.
Really? Yeah.
So this is really important. And for you. Oh my goodness.
Life-changing.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you all. I just my head wasn't together enough all I did was like sleep and eat and
Okay.
walk to Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay. Now listen, I want to ask you something. So is there a special manual for Kundalini Yoga for all of those things that you're talking about?
I'm going to dig in, and the gentleman who runs the unit in New Mexico, is in charge of the books. The books of Kundalini. I'm going to call him because I think it's a survival manual that comes to mind.
Oh, the survival.
Yes, remember that had a lot, because we were warned that mental health issues, as this challenging period comes, that mental health issues, and we really see this, an addiction. So I do have the book on addiction. I do have the sadhana manual, but there's emergency kind of stuff and long-term healing and helping people be strong enough to face reality and not freak out. It's in the survival book.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, and listen, Japa Saraswati, we have found on the, what do you call that? The web for that.
Survival manual.
Yeah, say it again.
Yes, I linked it on another video, and
thank you.
I don't remember the date of that video, but I can look through and find it.
Thank you.
That would be good. Okay, so when you are saying for the title for today, which is present and presence, and then also for, what is that name of that manual. What's the name of that?
I think it is Survival Manual.
Yes, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. And so that way can quickly understand that.
Yes.
Good.
This is Harimandir. Mukta in Espanola has a whole program on addictions.
Yes, and the
She's
book
been
is
doing
fantastic.
so.
Mhm.
Connecting with her also, she has a whole program put together for that.
Yes.
And
Okay.
there was a woman that back a couple of decades that was attending Siri Gian's teaching classes, and she wrote the most beautiful book for managing addiction, exquisite, with music that you would play, what yoga you would do, and what meditations you would do.
Mhm.
I can't. I will send it to you if it's okay. I'll get Japa Saraswati, and if you would put it on the.
Sure.
Is that from Beyond Addictions, G? That's Sat Duddam and
No,
Jyoti.
no, that's a totally different book. And
Oh, okay. Jivan Jyoti did one, and also Sat Duddam has the Beyond Addiction. She's in Canada.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she
Yeah.
does a protocol.
Yeah.
But there's a different book that goes through the steps of recovery. So they were
Oh,
built on, and
yes.
it's a beautiful, beautiful book because it gives you a whole curriculum to teach for like a year. So you
Yeah.
could run a class every week, and you'll have what mantras you want to play, what yoga sit you can do, and then what people should be eating. Help them if you're working on the liver or whatever. And what's the last part? I can't remember. Sorry.
Oh, I wish. Oh, yes. Surrender Jote.
Yes.
Yes.
Say
And
it
it's
again.
called Surrender Jote. It's a relatively recent one.
That's beautiful.
And it's just KY 12 workshop. Well, that's the workshops. Let me see. I think, is it maybe called Embodying the 12 Steps Kundalini Yoga for Recovery? Yeah.
I think that's it. What
Yeah.
you can read it? Can you read the name? Because I'll
Sorry.
recognize.
Embodying the 12 Steps Kundalini Yoga for Recovery. And there's two authors, but just I'm looking at an email that
Okay.
and it's so if you can write let's see, it's the email, it's Rachel Surrender
Yeah.
Jote, ky12info@gmail.com, and I can put all that in the group chat, not on this call but in our group chat.
Thank you. Really, really beautiful book that makes teaching and personal recovery, because you're living that as a teacher. That book is just beautiful. No
Yeah.
other word for it.
Aren't we happy? Aren't we so helpful to have found all of this? This is so great. Thank you all.
Thank you, because I did not think I could even show up today at all, and it's just a thing when I remind myself, just show up, because it always works.
There you go. That was important. And helping for others as well.
Others, yes.
Yes. God bless you. Okay, Japa Saraswati.
Nam, my message was pretty simple. It's the first thing that came was sort of what Aagia Pal said, the pain of not being present. What Baba said is that that is addiction. And I got the image of this girl that I saw in Starbucks one day. She'd gone in there with her boyfriend, obviously to meet somebody for drugs. And the poor girl was absolutely twitching because I think she was maybe experiencing withdrawal. And it her addiction was painful to see. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what she's feeling inside is even bigger and worse, that she would rather do some horrible drug that gives her these effects than feel what's really going on, being present on the inside. And what Baba showed me is that as times get tougher, more addiction is going to come and more mental illness. And he said, also relating to Aagia Pal, that the rats are jumping ship, that this is like a big squeeze, and that all of these old karmas and the ick is getting expressed out. Um, and and then I asked him, like, how do I be present in when I'm facing these things? And what he showed me was going back to my yoga practice, that this is part of why sadhana and practice is important, because he told me to rely on those tools that I use in my practice, which are to relax and breathe into the posture, and to remember that discomfort is good, but pain is my signal to adjust what I'm doing, that pain is not where I want to be, but that discomfort is for the place of growth. He also showed me to visit nature and to do cardio, to really get into deep breathing. And there's the concept of cardiac lag, which means that, like, it's basically what the doctors are testing you for when you go into your stress test, is how quickly your body can recover its equilibrium. And cardiac lag is the amount of time that it takes. Or also on the other end, it's the amount of time that you can run fast, like say you're doing a lot of exertion, before your heart rate spikes up too high. That lag time is basically, and what Baba showed me is about doing cardio training to extend that lag time, because that is exactly it. That's being present in those moments of stress and relaxing and breathing into the posture is extending those times. And the longer that we can be in that tapas, that moment of austerity, without going to our addictive desires, without going to our addictive conclusions, is strengthening us. And what he showed me was to stay rooted. So part of what I felt was doing cardio outside, but it doesn't necessarily have to be outside. But that contact with the earth and moving the body. And he said to keep on moving, to roll with the flow, and to surf that energy. So don't get stuck, don't dig your heels in, because this is where you want to be. You have to keep on moving. And part of that cardio, part of that body practice, is to continue to move and to make it easy to adjust. Like, I'm kind of naturally a bit of a clumsy person, but the thing is, when I'm well exercised, when I'm doing my yoga and when I'm on my cardio, I can fall down and bounce right back up, or stumble and catch myself before I fall down. And that's the practice, is to remain in practice, to remain in our sadhanas, in order to be ready for the coming, what may come. He's showing me like waves moving, that the energy is going to move, and that we're going to have to adjust to it, and that we have to be conditioned and resilient in order to adjust to it. That's harder to do when we're stuck in the same place.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, that's great. This is wonderful.
A lot of good info.
Okay. So we got it. Oh my goodness. I wonder, is there a way that we can actually use our, change our talking to writing. Can we do that?
Oh, well, you know what? Yes. On the video recording last week, I don't know what happened, but on the video recording last week, there is a transcript that
Really?
that YouTube did for us, and there's a way to engage that. So I expect that that might be happening this week too. It's happened on other videos as well. And part of what it was that I just put in like 2 or 3 time markers last week. And then, and I usually do a lot more than that. And so I'm wondering if YouTube, or it could be also that last week our subject was about why a dark government that may have made some YouTube censors or red flags, come up to transcribe this.
That,
Either or, but it's available.
yay! Can you do that? And then I can print that also. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a long transcript, and
Yes.
I can show you how to get there. Can I call you tonight?
Yes, please.
Yes, I'll call you and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you how to do it.
Yes. And then also, when you can do that, then also put that, how do you say, that link for
Mm-hmm.
the transcript for everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Terrific. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Well, this is very, very important. Okay, so now, Ved Bachan, would you sing with us?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, let's rub our palms together. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Allow an audible sigh. And inhale to sing out. May the
Time shine upon you.
all
All
love
around you.
and
And
your life
within
within you. Guide your
your
way
way
on.
on.
Guide
Guide your way on. Guide your way
your
Inhale. And bless you all. And clear your way through the smoke. Clear it. Okay. Transformation. See you. Bless you.
Bless everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Love you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody. Love you.
Bye.